So we made it, y'all. We're in Indiana. What town are we in? Howe, Indiana. And we're at the, what is it? Thousand Trails
Twin Mills Camping Resort.
And so our 3-day journey was successful, and we made it here right after lunchtime. So, and we've got a nice spot for 13 days, and we'll give you an update on what we think of this park. So y'all, we just got into our site at the Twin Mills Thousand Trails Campground. You know, we had a 3-day journey, and them roads were rough. This is my trash can. So this is the first thing I think that is broke in our RV, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to go to Walmart and find another one, and I want this color too. Matthew's trash can didn't break, but mine broke. So, y'all, we found all of the campsites. Here they are. All of the campsites America is looking for. Right here in Indiana. It's like campsites for days.
I know everybody likes the Zero-G blue drinking hose. This is ours, and it's trash. The first one leaked, and I tried to get a refund, but I couldn't get at least, it was past the 30 days when we bought it, so we couldn't return it. And I tried to do a warranty thing because Apex, the company who makes them, said you can do a warranty exchange or a warranty refund, but I couldn't because I didn't buy it from an authorized distributor. So we ate it, and now this one little tiny pinhole, and it's finished, like any hose. And then so we got this cheapo thing from Walmart that is the same thing, but worse, because as you can see, it gets all kinked up and stuff. I was attracted to these hoses because they're lightweight and they get compacted really easily when you want to put them away, but I think I'm done. When this hose is finished, I think we'll probably be going with just a regular standard plastic drinking hose because I've had enough of this mess. This is just too much time that I shouldn't have to spend on water.
So are you going to try the Zero-G again, or do you think that's not worth it?
I think the Zero-G is good as a gray hose for your black tank flush, for spraying things off. You know, the gray version of the Zero-G, because they're easier to find and it's not that important. If it leaks a little bit, who cares? You don't use it very often. But when it comes to drinking water, I want a good hose.
As you can see, the Walmart hose was called what? You said Apex, and there's the box still.
No, Apex makes the Zero-G.
Oh.
This is the Walmart one. Aqua Joe, piece of junk.
And the reason we had to get it from Walmart is because, like he said, you can't find the blue ones.
No, since there's a run on camping and RVing, there's a run on the blue hoses.
So it was either get this one that kind of mimics the Zero-G or get a regular hose, and we thought we would try this one because we needed a hose. So we're in a Walmart parking lot in Sturgis.
We came to Sturgis, man, just to take care of business. What business are we taking care of?
We're uploading our next video.
Yeah, because in the campground, we got all of, like the last speed test I did, I think it was about 1.5 megabytes a second upload. It was awful. That would have taken days. We don't have days to wait for this, and y'all need the next video. So we're getting, I think, 13 or 14 megabytes a second upload where we are in the Walmart parking lot, and it's just a few minutes down the road. Oh, we said we went to Sturgis. There aren't a whole lot of motorcycles here because it's Sturgis, Michigan, but it is just down the road, and it is lightning fast compared to the campground. I'm sure y'all have had faster other places, but we're sitting in the truck. Our truck has a built-in hotspot, and so that's really nice. Not everybody goes for that option. We did because we knew we'd have a day like today, and we're using it. So,
and if we didn't mention, our RV park is Twin Mills. Is it campground? Twin Mills Campground. It's 1,000 Trails RV park, and it's in Howe, Indiana. So, like he said, we're literally on the border of northern Indiana and southern Michigan.
And it's an Encore park, technically.
Yeah, but honestly, something funny, when we were first looking at the map, we just saw that Sturgis was really close, and I'm like, oh, cool, we get to visit Sturgis. And then we realized it wasn't the South Dakota Sturgis.
No, and we'll get better at the map, honestly, as we travel around. But Sturgis, Michigan, it's what, like 10 minutes or so from Twin Mills. We're right close to the border of Indiana, Michigan, and we're not too terribly far from Ohio.
Right. And we're just so used to staying in the South, and we're very familiar with the southern states and how they border and stuff, but when it gets up in this area, we don't know where everything's laid out yet. So.
Yeah, and when we go out west, I know on a map what region certain states are in, but embarrassingly enough, I couldn't pinpoint all of them. But by the time we're done RVing, which hopefully, as long as we live, we'll be RVing, we ought to know where everything is. We ought to know all the interstates, all the highways. Eventually, comment down below if it took you a while of traveling before you really knew where everything was. Make us feel better.
So I didn't realize the internet was so fast here, because I was just going to take advantage and go over to the Dollar Tree, but it's not going to take that long, so I probably will not go on the Dollar Tree.
And when we started this video, it had 1% done, and now we're up to 22% loaded. So for us, that's pretty fast, especially over cellular data. We look forward to seeing how good the internet is in other places, and start keeping your eye on Starlink. The Mobile Internet Resource Center has good videos on Starlink, which is improving every week, every month, and hopefully in a year or so it'll be just perfect to take over in rural settings.
But we're so thankful that our truck comes with a hotspot, so we can just drive to like Walmart parking lot to upload the video, which is our first time ever doing it. But I'm assuming you could pair your phones too if you don't have a hotspot in your vehicle. But always do that if you drive, or if the Wi-Fi just really stinks in the RV park, just drive into town and just check on, what is it, speedtest.net. And just go to different places and just see if the internet changes. And we were amazed that it changed so much.
Because when you look on the AT&T map, they said we're in an area that's either 4G LTE or 5G, depending on where you are, and we were not getting those kind of speeds. So, and we know when we lived in Pearl, Mississippi, you look and it should get great coverage, but there are little areas within that, little tiny neighborhoods, even just a street or two, which was our case in Mississippi. There were a couple streets that were awful, and everybody else around it was just fabulous. So if you don't like it where you are, and you're not out in the middle of a cornfield, which we're close to that, drive around. Like she said, it could change just down the road.
All right, well, we've done enough rambling about the internet, so we will check in with y'all later. This is Matthew in our Ford truck. He tore it apart and he's putting it back together. Man, that's a tight squeeze, isn't it?
Oh, I've been doing this for a couple hours.
So what did you do?
I installed our Van True dash cam permanently attached to the battery, so if somebody hits us in a parking lot, it'll catch them. If somebody hits us while we're driving, it'll catch them. It has GPS to show where the accident was, and it also shows us and our actions, and it has a special micro SD card meant for constantly recording. And I'm not a mechanic, so it took me 20 times longer than it should have.
And the reason this is major is because you were able to hide the cord instead of it just dangling all over the place.
Yeah, instead of having stupid looking cords all over the place, we hid it, and we'll give you a tour of that later.
So we'll take a picture when we have everything set up. We have a, tire monitoring system, a Garmin, the is it a Vanguard?
True.
Then we have a dash cam. So we'll take a picture with all of that set up at one time.
And the key is to make all this stuff not intrusive and obstructive while you're driving.
And we don't need to have a cell phone holder because our Ford integrates with the phone, so that way it displays.
Yeah, it works very well. I love it. And I never thought I'd be taking my beautiful truck apart, but I did, and I put it back together, thank God. I was worried. Very good. Oh. That was 4.
Yay.
5.
Alright, let's see if Matthew can beat me. There it goes. Ooh! I think it did the same thing mine did.
It stopped on a seed.
So what? So we're tied?
Even.
Okay. So Matthew's moving the truck because the neighbors asked last night if he would move it because they're going to be leaving this morning. So if you ever think you're not going to be able to pull out of a spot because you can see this place is really tight, then just ask your neighbor if they'll move their tow vehicle so you have an easier time to get out. He's parking it over here because, as you can see, they decided to put mulch here and the tractor keeps coming by and he doesn't want the truck close to all that, so they do a lot of maintenance at this park. So we are fixing to go to Tractor Supply and get our 30-pound propane tank filled. And Matthew's opening the tonneau cover and he's going to take the tank and strap it in, standing upright because you don't lay it down.
No, you don't. Not these tanks. As long as it's stable. That's all that matters.
Okay. So he's got our propane tank strapped in and we're going to the local Tractor Supply. This is an old military academy that was built in the late 1800s and a Christian college took over called the Great Commission University. They say they should be open now, but it still looks like they're doing a lot of work on it. But it looks like it was just gotta strap it back in.
I'm gonna pay and then I'll secure it.
Okay. So he's going in to pay for it, so they fill it and then you pay for it. Okay, so we got our propane, and as I was saying before, you just pull up, you go in and tell them you want propane, and then they take the tank out of the bag and set it on the ground to fill it, and then after they fill it, you go in and pay.
Yep, and they weigh it while they're filling it, and it has to be, don't quote me on this, I think it has to be manufactured within the last 10 years or recertified somehow. Don't quote me on the numbers, but it can only be a certain age or they won't touch it unless it's like recertified or something like that. It's a safety issue.
You mean the age of the tank?
Yeah, and it's stamped right on the tank. It's really easy.
Okay.
And it's a lot cheaper than the RV park.
The RV park was going to charge us $30.
Yeah, I think it was 22 here or something.
So if you can, always try to find a good price for propane. Don't always go to the RV park. It's just there for convenience.
Yep, that's all. And you pay for it.
Right. So the dark horse needs to be washed. It's beyond filthy. The birds just pooped all over it. So we're gonna go wash it. So Matthew's putting in the address now.
Head south.
The dark horse is about to be cleaned. This is how dirty the dark horse is. It's got like pollen all over it. You know, we're up north and I think we're following the pollen season. I don't know when it's gonna end, but that's how dirty. And then I don't know if you can tell, but there's like bird poop all over. All over. And then it splattered it there. And it splattered it here. Alright, we're gonna get to washing. Matthew has been wanting to wash the dark horse for a while now. And in Florida at the RV park at Paradise Oaks, they let you actually wash your RV and your truck at your lot, and you just pay like a $5 fee. I think it's $5 for vehicles and $10 for RVs. But the only problem is the water pressure was not very good at all. So they didn't get it as clean as a car wash would, but it was a lot cheaper than bringing it to a car wash. Okay, the dark horse got a bath. Look how shiny it's nice and clean. I don't see any bird poop on it. Tonneau cover looks really good. So we are in the town of Mishawaka, Indiana. And let us tell you what is going on in the town of Mishawaka. So we went to church, which was right down the road in a city called, I don't know, starts with a G. I think it's Goshen or something. And they didn't follow mask protocol or social distancing or anything. It was a mega church, like no mask policy at all. And so we're like, well, we want to go get some lunch. So the first restaurant we went to was just full, and they said, well, it would be a 35-minute wait. We don't want to wait that long. So we went next door, and the restaurant had their doors locked and said, you they're not serving you on the inside. You had to call them or do the drive-through, and it was like 20 cars deep in the drive-through. And then we saw there were 2 more restaurants down the way. The next one, dining room, was completely full. Like, it was like a Dickie's where you go in and order barbecue and then you go into the restaurant and sit down. No tables at all, and there were still like 20 people in front of us. We're like, no. So then we went to the other restaurant. Doors were locked. I mean, the whole dining room was closed. And so we finally found Buffalo Wild Wings, which was not our first choice, but we went to it, and as soon as we got to the door, it said, well, we close at 4 because we don't have enough staff to operate the restaurant. But they only had one side open. They said the other side wasn't open because they didn't have enough staff, but we could sit in the bar area. So we finally went in the bar area, and it didn't have much room there either. So we were finally able to eat after 5 restaurants.
And I don't know if it's because due to COVID, I've heard tons of stories about businesses having a hard time getting people to be employed. And I do understand that, but this is not the beginning of the pandemic. And like when we got our first round of the vaccine in Michigan, they told us that they were 55% vaccinated in the state. So the state's making good efforts and good progress. So why does it still seem like we're in the throes of COVID, even though it's a big city? I mean, well, it's not a big city, but it's a relatively big town, and you would think they'd have plenty of people who need a job, but I guess not. It's just kind of culture shock, because in Florida, it wasn't that way. In Mississippi, it wasn't that way at this point in time. In southern Louisiana, or excuse me, the New Orleans area where we were living with her mom temporarily, it wasn't that way there either. So I know we've heard the stories, but we've never experienced it, and it's just a whole new world for us. I don't know why it's so different up north than it is down south.
And the reason he mentioned Michigan is because we're on the border of Michigan and Indiana.
Yeah, I think the preacher called it Mishawaka, because you just to get to a point in Michigan, in Indiana, we actually had to go from Indiana to Michigan back to Indiana. It's just you keep weaving the borders, so you're right there. But
this is May 16th, 2021. We just wanted to put it out there that it doesn't seem to be a statewide policy. It doesn't even seem to be a county thing, because restaurants next door to each other were doing totally different things. Like, they weren't even on the same page. So just be forewarned. Always, even if you're vaccinated, you're still going to have to carry your mask, and some restaurants aren't even going to let you in. So anyways, we decided to eat, and then we saw this cute little store, as we were passing by. I'm like, I want to go there. It's called the Christmas Tree Shops, and we'll insert a picture. And we're like, I can't wait. We can go and look at Christmas stuff in summertime. We walked in there, and what kind of store was it?
It was like a wannabe Kmart. It was just the only thing Christmassy about the Christmas tree shops in, where are we, Mishawaka, Indiana. The only thing Christmassy about the Christmas tree shops is the name on the price tag. Not one single item, anything to do with Christmas. And I know it's May, you wouldn't think of Christmas this time of year, but there are shops that actually have carved out a nice niche for themselves, because they are Christmas all year round. If you don't want to sell Christmas stuff, then why are you calling yourself a Christmas shop? Yeah, I don't know. Waste of time.
It was a big disappointment. So now we're on our way to see the campus of Notre Dame. We didn't realize it was up in this area, so I'm looking forward to seeing that, because I'm a big college football fan. Well, Florida Gators is my team. So I'm just looking forward to seeing, the stadium, and just look at the campus and stuff, just because we're so close. So, University of Notre Dame. So that's all for this video.
Thanks for joining us today, and if you liked this content, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.